Recording. We're recording, so whenever you're ready, boys. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Al. My name's Duc. This is Alan. So, today, before we start, we'd like to ask all of you, who can keep a secret? None of you, seriously? Okay. I thought you were all terrible people who tell everyone the next question. I think we'd like to talk about like secrets and like censorship and all that. So our real life situation is we all know this is it's called the My Lai massacre, and back in 1968 during the Vietnam War, the Americans went into a village in Vietnam with the intel that said that it was a Viet Cong stronghold. What happened was Alpha Company, that was the name of the American group. They went in and they killed every single person in that village. The aftermath of the incident was how the government covered it up because they didn't want anyone to see what they did there. But then after many years, documents were released and people started getting knowledge of what happened in the massacre. And this was like this is our main real life situation for the topic of censorship.
So from our real life situation, we came up with the knowledge question: under what circumstances can censorship be justified? And like Duc pointed out, this knowledge question connects clearly with the real life situation because the government covered up the incident and didn't want the public to know what they did in Vietnam. And our first claim is censorship can protect individuals. Censorship can be used to protect sensitive materials from the public and to protect, for example, personal information, and to stop radical ideas from spreading. And one famous book that's banned in Germany is Mein Kampf, written by Adolf Hitler during his time in prison. This shows his extreme beliefs and ideologies that are not aligned with the views of the public or the views of the state at this time. Therefore, the government thinks it's best if it's banned or censored, so that there's no unrest and tension between different elites, different groups. And they also want to try and prevent the horrors from World War II to occur again. But there are other books that are also challenged, and some of them you might know. For example, Looking for Alaska by John Green, which is challenged because of its offensive language, and it's believed that it could ignite a fight between two groups with different viewpoints. And similarly to the Holy Bible is also challenged for its religious viewpoints, because if the viewpoint of that religion does not align with state religion, then it can cause religious segregation. It can cause religious tension in the country.
That brings us to our counterclaim, which is although it protects individuals, censorship also greatly limits the people's ability or freedom of speech. Like to look at the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights in Article 19. It basically states that everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This also applies to like freedom of the press also. And the freedom of the press, a lot of countries support freedom of the press. And here we just have a map of the whole world showing you the levels of freedom of expression in all the countries. As you can see that a lot of, basically China, a lot of countries in the Middle East and some North African countries are in black, which means they seriously limit the press from like publishing certain stories, while many countries like Canada, United States, or Australia, UK are more free. Yes, some countries we can look at with freedom of spread of freedom of speech is like the United States of America. They greatly allow the press to print whatever the press wants. Also, like with Sweden and Singapore, or oh wait, no, not Singapore, because actually Singapore is very censored. As we can see, this example. If you don't know, this guy, his name is Amos Yee, and back in 2015, he was arrested. A little bit about Amos Yee is he's a teen YouTube vlogger. A lot of his vlogs are about political, social, and like religious issues. He was first arrested for a video he made criticizing the Singaporean government, and also criticizing Christianity. So just a show of hands, how many of you in here think Amos Yee is a hero? Because he's trying to show the world of how the Singaporean government are censoring people's right to talk about how bad the government is or all the restrictions. Can you just, a show of hands, raise your hand if you think he's a hero? Okay, about half of you, maybe more now. So what if I told you he also supports child pornography? Do you think he's still a hero? Probably a lot less of you. And that's like more of a perception, because at first most of you believed that he was a hero because I told you he supported freedom of speech, freedom of press. But then you believe that because of the statements of the information I gave you. You didn't know that he supported child pornography, and this is like with our knowledge. We usually make opinions based on on the information that we know. So the intuition we have to understand certain situations, and if information is being censored, it affects our reasoning for certain subjects. But our counterclaim to this is that it's also censorship will protect society, because with censorship you will protect, like, you keep ideas that are radicalized, like Alan said earlier, might have radicalized from spreading, and you also kind of keep information that could harm individuals, which could also lead to like bigger social issues. Here we have an example from actually 2 weeks ago. This is early in October, when hundreds of thousands of Chinese military veterans left their homes and marched to Beijing, and they sat outside the Chinese parliament in protest against, they're protesting the pension and other welfare that they were promised before in their service, which they didn't later receive. They basically blocked Beijing for quite a few hours. What the government did was, the aftermath, after they brought all the soldiers home, they went on social media and they basically censored anything related to the protest. They wanted to silence it and then kill the issue. In this censorship, the reasoning behind was they didn't want the social issue to go on further, which could cause more uproar and could create a huge divide in the country.
So our second counterclaim towards censorship is that censorship can manipulate people. By avoiding knowledge from the general public, the government is able to make the public do what they want them to do, and can utilize the citizens to follow their views and beliefs. One real-life situation is Tiananmen Square, which is during the Cultural Revolution of China in 1989. The Chinese government has censored this massacre because they do not want the people to know this part of history, and are feeding them false information making them believe that this event has never happened, and by doing so, the government is manipulating and controlling its citizens. Another example of a government or a state controlling its citizens is North Korea and North Korean propaganda. By constantly having propaganda everywhere, it's a constant reminder of how good the leaders and how good their state is, even though it might not be the best in the world. And according to a study from Vanderbilt University, Duke University, and the University of North Carolina, they found that repetition increased perceived truthfulness. So if it's repeated enough times, people will start to believe it, even though it might be false information. And so how do we know that the knowledge we have is true or not? And so this came to our subsidiary knowledge question. To what extent can presented knowledge be trusted? And our first thing to this is, with enough evidence, knowledge can be trusted. And this is mostly true in the natural sciences. If you have enough evidence to back up the claim, then it can be accepted by society. One of our real-life situations is the heliocentric model of Copernicus. And this was a revolutionary idea at the time, but it was censored by the church because it did not follow the view of the church. But as time progressed, technology became better and more evidence is gathered towards this idea. And therefore, this knowledge is eventually trusted and reliable. However, if the development of technology was stopped by the church, if the church was more powerful, then the way we might view the solar system might be false information, might be false knowledge, and therefore censorship can create misleading information or false knowledge.
And that brings us to our other thing that it's state that emotions can be a huge roadblock to knowledge. You're seeing how in the world of politics, you can see that a lot of politicians use fear and anger because fear and anger play strongly to a person's perception. We can see this prominently with the Trump campaign. And you see the majority of supporters for Trump are just middle class Americans who are very highly conservative, so they fear a lot of change. Recently, the Daily Show hosted by Trevor Noah, they went and interviewed Trump supporters and see how they felt, and a large similarity between the responses of the Trump supporters was that they feared Muslims and they feared Mexicans, and we can see this delivered throughout the Trump campaign by Donald Trump reiterating that Muslims are terrorists or Mexicans are rapists. And with this, Trump is utilizing people's fears to instill information into people. Because when they have fear, the fear, it can strengthen how deeply the information might be lodged in your mind. Because say if you are reading a book and you're bored, you wouldn't remember it as well as if you had a happy memory of say you're going out with friends. You'd remember. You might not remember going out with your friends so well, but you would remember the feeling that you had while you were with your friends. And this is helping indicate how information is more easily affected by your emotions. So in conclusion, we would like to say that knowledge is greatly affected by reasoning and information and how you perceive it. Though that information can still be challenged by the emotions, not only by perception but also production. And
to add on what he's saying, knowledge can be perceived in many ways, right? But there are also many ways that can hinder us from getting the knowledge that we desire. For example, censorship. And sometimes the knowledge that we have might not be what is really the truth. And this needs to be, question needs to be critiqued.
Do you want to just flick through your slides and give people a chance to think of questions they might want to ask? I'm just going to